In a world of wealth and excess, a greedy man awakens in a humble 19th-century town. Confronted with the realities of humility and hard work, he embarks on a profound journey of self-discovery and redemption. Grisa, born into an affluent Russian family, leads a life that reflects his wealth. He tends to be inconsiderate and frequently gets into trouble, but his fortune shields him from the consequences. His life revolves around parties, alcohol, and a dismissive attitude toward women. One night after a disagreement with a woman who rejected him, Grisa was arrested for speeding. He attempted to bribe the police chief but failed. Despite this, Grisa tried to escape, even when the officer positioned himself in front of his car to stop him. As a result, the officer was injured. Shortly afterward, Grisa's father, Pavel, arrived at the police station to bail out his son. Despite being detained, Grisa's defiant attitude remained unchanged. The police station's chief talks to Pavel about the numerous incidents caused by Grisa, including a yacht's destruction and the recent event which has resulted in an officer being hospitalized. He emphasizes the need for Pavel to intervene and address Grisa's conduct. After paying Grisa's bail, Pavel reprimands him and warns him about the possibility of disinheritance. Yet Grisa remains unaffected, confident that his father wouldn't follow through with the threat. Struggling with the situation, Pavel turns to his close friend, Anastasia, a TV producer, for support. He expresses his despair over Grisa's behavior and regrets his past decision of sparing him from military service. Anastasia suggests a solution involving Lear, a man she knows from her work on horror films who uses unconventional but effective methods. Though hesitant at first, Pavel agrees to meet Lear. Lear lives in an odd house, and on their visit, they are alarmed to see him hanging from the ceiling, a prank, as they later find out. Lear is skilled at creating visual illusions. Despite the initial shock, Anastasia persuades Pavel to hear out Lear's plan for Grisa. A few days later, Grisa leaves a club only to find his car being towed. A sudden gunshot startles him, and he loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he's in a stable, dressed in strange clothes, with a young man named Artyom instructing him to saddle the horses to avoid angering their master. Grisa is bewildered, especially when the overseer, Abdei, chastises him physically for not obeying. Adding to his surprise, Dmitri, the landlord, and his son Alexei appear, punishing Grisa for his disobedience. Dmitri orders Grisa to prepare the horse or face harsher punishment. When Artyom leads him back to the stable, Grisa uses the chance to escape through a window. The setting resembles an 1860s Russian village before the abolition of serfdom. As Grisa runs and asks the locals for help, he receives nothing but confusion in return. Reaching the edge of the property, he falls into a lake. When he returns for dry clothes, he's captured and punished for causing a disturbance. Dmitri's daughter, Aglaya, convinces her father to show mercy on her birthday, so Grisa is spared. A bird, actually a drone, settles in a mill at the village's edge. This isn't a time travel, but a plan by Lear, funded by Pavel, to teach Grisa discipline. Lear is the architect of this grand illusion, supported by Anastasia's TV-producing experience. Hidden cameras are scattered throughout the village, and a sniper with a tranquilizer gun is ready if needed. Pavel questions the morality of his choice as he sees his son being punished, but Lear reassures him it's for Grisa's improvement. When Pavel asks about Lear and Anastasia's relationship, Lear reveals they were once married. Grisa, meanwhile, struggles to understand his apparent time travel. Actors receive scripts for upcoming scenes and are reminded of the rules. No shaving, no modern underwear, and no jewelry. Alexei, after greeting his non-actor girlfriend, Lisa, picks up his script in amusement. It suggests a romantic storyline between Aglaya and Grisa, which makes Alexei question the line between acting and reality. Grisa's life in the village becomes tough. Waking up early, eating broth with flies, working with horses, using the outdoors as a restroom, and receiving physical punishment for every mistake. One day, he finds Aglaya upset about her father's plan to marry her off to a rich old man. Grisa, lacking empathy, views it as a good plan considering the man's impending death and the resulting inheritance for Aglaya. In the following days, Grisa steals a chicken and asks Artyom to get tools to make soup. Despite Artyom's effort, Grisa enjoys the soup alone. The theft doesn't remain undiscovered for long, and Abdi calls for the offender to confess, threatening to punish an arbitrary victim otherwise. Grisa remains unfazed, witnessing Artyom being hauled away for punishment. Later, Artyom shows Grisa the scars etched on his back, a courtesy of the makeup department, a sight which still does not stir any concern in Grisa. His equanimity, however, is shattered upon catching a glimpse of Lisa dismounting from a horse, her modern underwear peeping through her clothes. He rushes to inspect, hurling her to the ground. But intervention from fellow villagers ensures Lisa escapes. Observing Grisa's lack of progress, Pavel contemplates calling off the entire operation. This discussion is interrupted by the news of Grisa seeking Lisa to apologize. Initially, the villagers ignore him, it not being part of the script. But Lair, seizing the opportunity, instructs them to guide Grisa. Lisa, armed with a nailed wooden stick, reluctantly accepts Grisa's apology but maintains her guarded stance. Soon, the Ivan Kapala festival arrives, a celebration believed to seal the lifelong companionship of those who partake together. Grisa infuses the festival with his modern music, teaching the musicians to play lambada and forming a conga line with the villagers. Meanwhile, Aglaya confesses her suicidal intentions to him due to her impending marriage. Instead of dissuading her, Grisa finds Lisa and immerses her in tales of futuristic technology, convincingly portraying himself as a time traveler. Their conversation is interrupted by Artyom, who alerts them about Aglaya's presence near the lake. Grisa rescues her and carries her back to the village. However, instead of accepting her gratitude, he seeks Lisa, who has left the festival. Arriving at Lisa's house, he hopes to spend the night, hoping that the festival legend will hold true for them, but Lisa, uninterested, shuts him out. The next day, Lair introduces Lisa as Grisa's new love interest, much to Lisa's chagrin. She refuses any intimate scenes with him, but agrees to help him become a better person. Meanwhile, the plot takes a new turn as Alexei is found drunk and disorderly, having assaulted the sheriff. Rather than condemning this behavior, Grisa exhibits jealousy. This sentiment, however, transforms into fear when Dmitri suggests that Grisa take Alexei's place for punishment. Initially resistant, Grisa is swayed by Dmitri's offer of freedom and delicious food. In the following period, Grisa remembers to share his food with Artyom, displaying an unexpected act of kindness. Meanwhile, Anastasia and Lev show signs of rekindling their relationship, a possibility that worries Pavel. Yet Lev dismisses Pavel's concerns, asserting that Anastasia's affections are clearly for Pavel. This revelation shocks Pavel, who believed their relationship to be purely physical, pushing him into serious contemplation. Grisa endures 24 lashings, a sight too brutal for Pavel to witness, leading him to exit the room. Anastasia, following him, consoles Pavel, evidence of Lev's strategic expertise. It was Lev's finger-cutting ploy that helped her quit smoking. After the punishment, Grisa visits the landlord's house, seeking the documents that would certify his freedom. In Dmitri's absence, Alexei receives Grisa only to hurl him to the ground, kick him, and ridicule his naive faith in gaining freedom. Although Grisa considers retaliating, he chooses to exit the house instead, much to Lev's disappointment. From then on, Grisa continues working in the stables, but also spends more time with Lisa, gradually falling for her. On a shared afternoon walk, they notice a bird flying erratically. The bird is an out-of-control drone. As the producers ready a sniper for contingency, Lisa distracts Grisa, narrating how the bird has been present since her childhood, attributing it to her guardian angel. Luckily, the technical team regains control over the drone, avoiding the sniper's intervention. Meanwhile, Alexei and Aglaya are frustrated with the ongoing events. Aglaya cannot accept being replaced by Lisa, and Alexei is displeased seeing his girlfriend frequently with another man. Their shared annoyance leads them to a playful encounter in a carriage, only to be accidentally discovered by Grisa and Lisa. Witnessing her boyfriend's infidelity shatters Lisa, and Grisa misconstrues the situation as a more scandalous affair. Consequently, Lev fires Aglaya and Alexei. In an attempt to uplift Lisa's spirits, Grisa adorns the stable with candles and prepares a special dinner. Later, under the starry sky, he confesses his desire to marry Lisa if he were free. Recollecting his own deception, he admits his urge to assault Alexei, which he suppressed because he saw his own reflection in Alexei. Touched by Grisa's emotional growth, Lisa kisses him. In the real world, Aglaya appears on a popular talk show, revealing Grisa's abduction and the subsequent torment for amusement that he endures. In the final act, a police investigation announced on the news triggers panic in Pavel, urging him to shut everything down before they arrive. Lear, however, persuades him to delay, arguing they have time to orchestrate one final heroic act for Grisa. Given Grisa's slow understanding, they plan a fake invasion of the village by a group of savages. During a moment with Lisa, she expresses that if they ever part ways, he should remember that everything between them was real. Artyom interrupts, urging them to rush back to the village, now overrun by the savages. Fearful, Grisa suggests they head in the opposite direction, prompting Artyom to coax him into returning by threatening that the savages will burn the village if they find out anyone escaped. In the village, the savages are appeased with food, but their leader demands a woman. The first woman he chooses is defended by her father, who they allow to fight for her freedom. He loses and is decapitated, but his sacrifice is accepted as payment for his daughter's liberty. The next woman chosen is Lisa. Despite her pleas, a terrified Grisa flees, seeing their plan has gone awry. Pavel readies to end the operation, especially with the police on the way, but Lev insists they wait. When Grisa sees the drone bird flying above, he interprets it as Lisa's guardian angel signaling him, prompting him to do the right thing. He rides back on a horse, uses Lisa's old stick to knock out the savages, and rescues Lisa. As they flee, the police arrive at the set. The organizers deceive them, claiming they're merely filming a movie, which the officers believe and depart without making any arrests. Meanwhile, Grisa and Lisa cross the property boundary and find a service station, which confuses Grisa. Just as Lisa is about to explain, a sniper tranquilizes Grisa, who later wakes up in a hospital. Pavel tells him he's been in a coma for 3 months after a car accident, feigning ignorance about the village and Lisa. Grisa returns to his old party lifestyle, but it no longer feels right. He even gives his car to the officer from the beginning of the movie as a gesture of redemption. One night at a club, Grisa encounters Alexei and Aglaya and asks about Lisa, but they pretend not to know him. Apologetic for the confusion, Grisa leaves, prompting the actors to take pity on him and offer some information. The next day, they take Grisa to the ranch where Lisa works. Upon seeing her, he asks if what she said was true, that it was all real for her. Her affirmation leads to a kiss and the start of their relationship. Eventually, Grisa brings Lisa to his father's wedding with Anastasia, thanking him for putting him through the crazy project and making him a better person. Thereafter, more spoiled rich boys are regularly sent to the village for rehabilitation, with Grisa assisting them. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell for more videos like this.